Before its release on Netflix, the Castlevania TV series had been in the works for over 10 years. With Season 2 having just arrived, it's time we take a look at some of the major similarities and differences between the Castlevania TV series and game franchise.
Trevor Belmont, last son of the House of Belmont.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Netflix original is a loose adaptation of one of the most loved games in the series, Castlevania III: Dracula's Revenge. Both star protagonist Trevor Belmont, one in a long line of powerful vampire hunters on his quest to hunt down and defeat Dracula. Trevor made his first appearance in Castlevania III and has since become a major character in the franchise. The show's first season is essentially a feature-length introduction to the world, introducing the location and many of the characters that are present in Castlevania III, with the second season clocking in at about twice the length of the first. Both the game and show take place in Wallachia, which today is a real-life region of Romania that isn't too far from the legendary home of Dracula, Transylvania. In the fiction of the game and series, Wallachia and Transylvania are essentially the same location. The game, released in 1990, is pretty bare when it comes to plot, so the show does take some liberties with the material.
I am a speaker and a scholar of magic. I serve no demon and I do no evil.
So far though, two of Trevor's three playable allies from that game have made their debut in the show, with Alucard and Sifa joining Trevor over the course of the shortened first season. Still yet to make an appearance, however, is Grant. Unlike many other characters, Dracula's history, motivations, and backstory have changed from the game to the screen, turning him into a far more tragic character. Dracula and the scientist Lisa Tepesh were a happily married couple before she was burned by the villagers of a town called Targovist, under suspicion of witchcraft, of which she was not guilty. This drives Dracula towards his mission of revenge, intent on wiping out all of Wallachia in 1 year.
I gave you 1 year to make your peace with your God. And what do? Celebrate the day you killed my wife.
As Season 2 progresses, Dracula begins his war on humanity as many of his subordinates question his leadership. Overall, the character is far more three-dimensional in the show compared to his appearance in the games.
I have told you how it will be. The humans will die. You will be taken care of.
Speaking of Dracula's subordinates, Isaac and Carmilla, the main antagonists of Castlevania Curse of Darkness and Castlevania Circle of the Moon respectively, show up in Season 2 as members of Dracula's Vampire War Council, though shifting loyalties add some intrigue to the season that's not present in the games.
You married, you had a child, and yet you did not make her a vampire. Why was that?
While most characters' appearances contain Easter eggs to their video game counterparts, Trevor's costume is almost exactly the same as his in-game clothing, apart from his coat of arms, which has been changed. Trevor also has been shown to use a cross-shaped sword, throwing knives, and holy water as weapons, all of which were available to use as special weapons through the first 3 games. So far, the series has fit in a ton of references and callbacks to the video game franchise, including settings that resemble levels of the game and small acts done by Trevor referencing goals and objectives from the games.
Begin.
One of the biggest references we noticed was to the clockwork-oriented section that first appeared in Stage 17 of the first game in the series. We know that the gears in the castle are what gave it the ability to move around, and it looks as though the same magic applies in the show. One of the major characters in the video game lore has been referenced several times starting in Season 2, with none other than Leon Belmont appearing as the subject of conversation and in portrait form. Leon Belmont is Trevor's ancestor who first brought the Belmonts to the region, beginning their long tradition of destroying vampires in the PS2 game Castlevania: Lament of Innocence.
I have the power to destroy all related to the vampires. Though you have divine powers, you are no exception.
However, the biggest departures the show took from the series was the introduction of the speakers and the prominence of the church. In fact, in the series, the organized church seemed to be more evil than Dracula himself. It's an interesting choice that we're eager to see play out should the show continue as expected. With the evil forces of the first 2 seasons out of the way, it looks like Trevor and his allies might be taking on the speakers next. With Season 1 well liked by fans and Season 2 even more widely acclaimed, we're hopeful the show will continue despite it seeming as though the game has been fully adapted after the defeat of Dracula. As Dracula's Curse features 4 endings depending on who, if anyone, accompanied you at the end, there was no way the show could exactly adapt the game, but all endings and the show conclude with Dracula's defeat at the hands of the heroes.
But let's stay here. Just a little longer.
Is Dracula truly gone? If he is, who will rise in his place? Will Grant finally be introduced? Or will the series jump to the next descendant of the Belmont clan to coincide with Dracula's next resurrection? If the latter turns out to be the case, then next in line is Christopher Belmont from the less popular Castlevania The Adventure. Although, it's much more likely that the series would probably skip him and go to his son, Castlevania's most popular hero, Simon Belmont. Nevertheless, it looks like we'll just have to wait until next year to find out, with the 10-episode 3rd season being greenlit by Netflix.
From this day on, the Belmont clan will hunt the night!
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.